And then I wanted to give Sonia, if she's ready for me. And okay. Sonia's going to talk us through her graphic harvest of the meeting, which I hope will echo some of these points that the chairs have raised.
Thanks. So I'm not going to take you through everything because there's so much here, but I'll give like a high level so you get a sense of the landscape of it. Um, so it flows from left to right, and everywhere we see one of those big circles on a heading is kind of like the big theme under which usually around 3 or 4 kind of talks were clustered. Um, so the first one here was just about restoring balance. And so you have kind of drawn the world and shown kind of that missing puzzle piece, which is the African microbiomes. And we have a distorted picture because it's missing. And also having the greatest sort of diversity of thought and culture and actual microbiome data will allow us, instead of doing this one size fits all approach, so the umbrella approach, to much more precision approaches. It's like the kaleidoscope means that we can actually target our interventions much more carefully. Another piece about restoring the balance is that health research is very much skewed. We have underrepresentation around research on women. And so now all the words, the medical words are leaving me. But there's a disparity in the research. There's a lack of effective treatment and lack of personalized healthcare. And then there were statistics given. So thousands of women die daily from preventative reproductive diseases. And then we see a huge impact specifically in sub-Saharan Africa, where the young women are disproportionately at risk for HIV. So it's a real target community to focus on. And we were exploring, well, what can we do? And sort of from some of the Q&A at the end, really the pieces that came out were sort of education, empowerment, and giving women choice, so acceptable and desirable prevention options. So there was that whole train of HIV prevention options we spoke about. We also spoke about the launch of MAL, the Microbial Interactions Lab. So I've got the little logo there. Then the next piece was around collaboration and partnerships. So that's kind of all sitting down here. So we looked at, as was just mentioned, we need more of this kind of ecosystems of research, intercontinental and intracontinental. So how can we create enabling environments so that that's kind of metaphor of building your stable and then breeding your own thoroughbreds and then attracting all the brains from the rest of the world, repatriating them and bringing them here. To do that, we must create great facilities people can do high-level science at. We need the right kind of infrastructure so we can manage big grants. And also it's about sharing the infrastructure. So it's not about everyone having their own awesome lab, but it's about sharing so we can actually get the outputs we need. Then it's about holistic collaborations instead of just sharing information. How do you do it in a deep way? And that was kind of what Suri shared. So how can we share knowledge, programs, protocols, analysis, and then just build the capacity? So if we have researchers kind of all over the world, if they see unusual outbreaks or maybe they're collecting interesting data, how do we support them by sharing protocols, sharing reagents, really going much deeper than just knowledge is what we always end up doing when we talk about collaboration. And then governments, how do we get them involved? How do we get them interested? So how can we speak to their policy interests and get them to invest in our work? So that was that piece. Then here we got into the African diversity. Here, Africa is not a single place. There's so much diversity throughout, and we need much more nuanced approaches. Here we've got robust ecosystems. And so here we spoke a lot about the ethics of the research and how can we create more equitable partnerships where it's not so skewed to the global north. And I think a big piece that came out in there, just trying to see where I wrote it, was just the strength in numbers. The better we collaborate, the stronger we are, and then we can actually have some leverage in these negotiations and at the research table. And so there are lots of just sort of little pieces of what that more collaborative, equitable research could look like. And you can really set that up by design and how we agree on things and have contracts and agreements around it. And then on this side is everything that happened today. So I won't go into it as much Here we've got sort of studying the vaginal microbiome. Here we had the citizen science example, how important it is to have really clear narratives and really, really good communication, and not just have your medical scientists, but also social scientists and communication experts in terms of that messaging. Also how to contextualize it to make sure you're working with people who communities trust, even with peers from the community. Here we've got I don't remember this, but I'll come to it later. Here's all the novel treatments. I've drawn the kind of holy grail with the Lactobacillus crispatus as the dominant. And then here I've written, as far as we know, that's what a healthy biome looks like. But in women from the US and Europe, what else could it be? But that's kind of what we know. So here we've got the vaginal microbiome transplant. So here I've drawn the Lactobacillus crispatus looking very friendly and all of his friends, and they're ready to go over here. And then here we've got the vibrant trial. So here we've got the different strains of crispatus. So here we've got a whole bunch of the friendly guys in a pill, 6 of them, and another one, 15 of them. And they want to go and colonize. And then here we've got the PM477 and the phage therapy. So here we've kind of drawn the Gardnerella and his biforms and all the other nasties he's harboring in there, and sort of trying to show that this work is trying to create an inhibitory effect so that antibiotics can work better, or our probiotics can work better. And then the last one is just on the AI, machine learning and informatics. A lot of that was beyond me. This last session was very detailed. I did my best. But here just really, I can hear it just dramatically speeds up our processing power and how quickly we can get information out by vast quantities. And then a big theme is, so there's all this great data, but if the data sets are biased, we're going to get the wrong kind of information, bad diagnostics, bad predictions. And so we need to make it much more inclusive. So we need to make sure that our data sets are designed, collected, analyzed with the local input. And for that, we need to invest in the Africanization of AI. And then here we just had some more specific lab sort of methods for collecting samples, and also crowdsourcing. So how do we get it out from the clinical setting, sort of in a general, sort of more diverse setting for greater diversity of our samples? And I don't know, I've had a blank on that one. Oh yeah, it's really just about the dysbiosis. We often just base diagnosis on symptoms rather than lab testing, because it's often very expensive, all the testing. And we also easily just over-treat with antibiotics and antifungals, which creates more dysbiosis and problems. And so there's a huge need for more good diagnostics. And then that comes into all of this new terrain, which is the novel treatments. Okay.
So Sonia's present to us and to each of you is a high quality capture of that information that you will have available and can love. I've had Sonia do another project with us, and it's one of my favorite things to look at all the time. So, and that will be framed somewhere in the microbiome lab, and we're going to be very proud of it. Thank you.